Hey y'all, hey, how y'all doing? All right, y'all. I was having technical difficulties. Y'all bear with me here, okay? I don't have my assistant here today. It's just me by myself. All y'all get is me this morning, but that's good enough. It is her. It is she. Y'all, the glasses. I'm gonna have to take the glasses off, y'all, because the glare. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This is the Char Curry Morning Show, and I am Char Curry, aka Says What She Wants. I appreciate y'all being here today. Make sure you say something in the chat so I can know that you are here. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Mhm. Okay, there we go. So, how are y'all doing? Let me know how y'all are doing in the chat. I appreciate y'all for being here. Y'all know it's been a long time coming. I know y'all been ready for it. I've been ready for it, but we are here now. So, one of the things that is very, very, very important to me, as you guys know, is mental wellness. Hey, 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 thank you. I appreciate you, Frederick. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, so y'all know that one thing that is very important to me is being mindful of yourself and also mental wellness. So that is one of the first things I want to start off with today. So as far as my story, the way I started off, um, as far as my mental wellness journey was overcoming anxiety, overcoming depression, overcoming worrying, overcoming complaining. So many times it's like you guys have heard this. Oh well, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? So in my case, like growing up, I grew up in a lot of trauma. I grew up around a lot of drama. So it's like I would always revert to a negative mindset. So as I got older, it just became bigger and bigger. It manifested. It manifested into worrying about everything, complaining about everything, seeing things from a lens of anxiety, from a perspective of negativity. So what I did was, as I got older, I began to educate myself. I began to educate myself on psychology. I began to educate myself on a lot of things that have to do with spirituality. So in growing within myself, I saw that I could change my way of thinking. I saw that I could change my line of thinking. And so the first thing that I tackled was worrying. I used to worry about everything. And y'all know when you worry, that manifests into anxiety, that manifests into depression, that manifests into panic attacks. So for myself, what I did was I said, okay, I can switch this up. Like I can retrain my mind. I used to watch documentaries and read books on retraining your mind. So what I did was I made myself more mindful of the way I thought. So the way I thought about one thing, I may say, oh well, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be late. Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna get into a car accident, so I don't want to go nowhere. Oh my gosh, I can't let my kids go outside because there may be a pedophile out there. I can't let my kids go outside because they may be kidnapped. So how I did this was I became more mindful of myself and how I thought about things. And I was like, but maybe that might not happen. It could, but maybe it might not. So I began to retrain my thoughts. So the way I did this was I began to write things out. I began to write out, I am not anxious. I live a positive life. My mindset is positive. My way of thinking is positive. So I began to retrain my thoughts by writing it out. But then I would also speak it. I would also speak it. I am safe. My kids are safe. Nothing's going to happen to us. And so that is how I train myself to think more positively. And so as far as the worrying, like that's how I got out of it. As far as complaining, I was a complainer. I would complain about everything, whether it was people, whether it was an event, whether it was the fact that something wasn't clean. Everything didn't need a response from me. But at the time, I didn't see that and I didn't know that. And so what I did was I said, okay, well, if I complain about it and I magnify it, then it becomes larger than life, right? So what I did was I trained myself on how to quiet that storm within myself. The more I quieted the storm, the less anxious I was, the less worried I was, the less complaining I did. So that was that. And then when it comes to anxiety, because I grew up in an environment that had intermittent moments of um, uh, distress, if you will, and trauma and arguing and things of that nature. Hey, Carl, how are you? Grand Rising, I appreciate you. That's my dog. So I grew up in a certain environment, and so that was my go-to. That was my go-to. Like it was like my body. It was like a trauma response where my body would automatically think that something was bigger than it was, something was wrong, and so I would get these palpitations. I would start to sweat. I would feel like out of sorts. And so this magnum, as I got older, as I was married, as I had kids, everything would manifest because then I had more responsibility. As a wife, I had more responsibility. As a mother, I had more responsibility. In the jobs, in the workplaces, in my career, I had more responsibility. So therefore, with all of those things on top of me, with all that heaviness, excuse me, all this, the anxiety began to manifest. It began to grow, basically. And so the more I read up on things of this nature, the more I read books on psychology, the more I went to school and studied psychology and psychiatry, then I began to see that I could shift it. I could retrain the receptors. I could retrain the way I thought. So what I did was, um, and at this time I was in church. I was in church heavily, and so what I would do is I would use scriptures. I would write scriptures. I would study scriptures. I would meditate on scriptures, so they say. And so that's what happened. That's how I came out of anxiety because, and just to share like how my anxiety, how bad it was, I would go from being able to go to the store in the daytime to not going to the store in the daytime. So literally, you guys, I would have to go grocery shopping either at midnight or either at like 5 o'clock in the morning, like when nobody was in the store, because I would always think that everybody's eyes were focusing on me. I would always think that everybody was focusing on me and that they were judging me. So therefore, I'd walk around and I'd be it was like I had this internal anxiety, this internal shaking that was going on, and so I would sweat profusely. And by the time I got up to the checkout counter, I had such bad anxiety and such heart palpitations to where sometimes I had to end up like leaving the store altogether because it was the anxiety was so prevalent. It was so bad to where I wouldn't even be able to pay for my stuff sometimes. I just have to leave the basket there. And then also, let's say like I was going out to eat with somebody. Sometimes we'd have to leave the restaurant because I wanted like a booth or I wanted to sit in a certain space or I wanted to sit in a darkened area. So that way I wouldn't have to worry about people focusing on me, watching me eat and things of that nature. So, like those are ways in how my anxiety manifested. And so the way I overcame anxiety was again being mindful, and doing self-talk. You guys have to understand like self-talk is so powerful. Self-talk is so powerful. So what I would do is while I was in the store, I would self-talk. These people aren't worried about you. These people aren't judging you. These people aren't looking at you. That's you. And so I would I would be so aware of myself that I would be able to curb those thoughts. I would be able to curb that anxiety. I would be able to curb those panic attacks in that manner by simply doing self-talk. And a lot of people be like, well, how did you well did it just stop? No, it went on, like it still went on for years, like intermittently for years. It would still happen to me, you guys. But I didn't give up on myself. I didn't give up on the fact that I could bring myself out of this. This is something that I didn't go to counseling for. I didn't go to therapy for, and I was able to do it myself. And even though I was able to do it myself, that doesn't mean everybody's able to. So I still have clients that I'm helping them to work through anxieties. I'm helping them to shift their way of thinking. I'm helping them to retrain their internal receptors. But at the end of the day, I overcame it. So that's how I know how to help other people through it. And everything that I did doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody, because everybody is different and you go through different things at different times, different psychological states, different emotional states. But you still can offer certain things to certain people because you have gone through things. And so, and along with my schooling and studying things of that nature, that's how I'm able to help other people. So it's through wisdom, knowledge, and my own experiences how I'm able to help other people. And so, um, that was that about the anxiety and the panic attacks. Now, when it comes to depression, you guys, this is something a lot of people don't like to talk about. They don't like to deal with it. They don't like to hear about it, and they don't like to face it. And a lot of people are in denial about the fact that they go through depression, and they think that, and also because people have judged them and they judge themselves for it, they think that they have to stay stuck. And that's not true, you guys. Like, you can come out of depression. Not everybody's able to pull themselves out. You guys don't think that, I'm saying not to go to therapy. I recommend therapy. I recommend road therapy, music therapy, whatever type of setting is going to help you come out of depression. That's what you need to do, whether it's talking to someone, whether it's getting in the car and driving, whether it's going to your happy place, whether it's going fishing or going to the beach or just being around water, meditation. Make sure that you're doing what you need to do for yourself. And if you can't, make sure that you reach out to somebody for help. And for those of you that have people around you that are that are dealing with depression, please don't judge them. Please don't say, "Oh, well, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Oh, you could do it. Oh, it's all in your mind." No, it's not. Literally, you guys, I was so depressed to where I went from the bed to the bathroom to the doctor's office. Okay. So depression is real, heaviness is real, anxiety is real. Like, this stuff is real. So don't allow anybody to talk you out of it not being real. But I tell you this, you can change it. Either you change it by yourself, or you get somebody around you that can help you change it, or you call in a third party and you go to therapy. It doesn't even have, and a lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of people get anxious about going to therapy because they feel like they have to get out of the bed, they have to go out of the house, and that just sends them into a frenzy. But there are therapists, there are counselors, there are accountability partners that you can access online. I'm one of those. So if you guys are going through depression, anxiety, if you feel like you want to change your mindset to a more positive mindset, then call me, book a session with me. I can help you through this. And so, yeah, if you're around somebody or that's you and you're going through depression, make sure you reach out, please, because you're not by yourself. People go through this every day, whether it's severe depression, whether it's depression through mental illness, or whether it's slight depression. It still can shift the way you think. It still can shift the way your outcome and your outlook is on life. And you want to be able to get to your goals. You want to be able to have a bright future. So make sure that you reach out if you need to, whether it's the physical fact that you need somebody there, or a simple fact that you need somebody to talk to or encourage you. Make sure you reach out, because we don't have to go through things by ourselves, you guys. We don't have to go through things by ourselves. Like, for me, it's like the universe of God, whatever you believed in, put it in me to be able to pull myself out. Like I was telling you guys earlier, I went from the bed to the bathroom to the doctor's office. That was what I did for almost a year. And one day I'm sitting up here and I'm journaling. And literally, you guys, I went from writing a suicide note, like I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to take myself out, to writing a prayer. God save me, God help me. And literally, that is how I snapped out of it. So be mindful of what works for you. Um, I've always been an avid journaler. I have 30 years worth of journals, you guys. I've always been an avid journaler. And so journaling, like I'm writing a book right now, it's called Journaling to Freedom. And this is a book that I've been writing for years. And it's about journaling your way out of fear, journaling your way out of depression, journaling your way out of complaining, journaling your way out of panic attacks. You and some people don't realize how powerful journaling is. Like, you get that out of you onto the paper, there is a healing mechanism in there. There is something powerful about being able to do that. No, it doesn't work for everybody, but a lot of people, it does work for them. Start to write out what you want for yourself. Start to write out your goals. Start to write out what you want for your future. You can literally manifest things, you guys. A lot of people don't understand and don't realize that there is power when you write down your goals. There is power writing the vision and making it plain. You know, it's not that you have to believe in the Bible to do these things. This is a quote. You don't have to look at it as a biblical thing. You can look at it as a spiritual thing. You can look at it as a philosophical thing, but make sure you do what works for you. You have to do what works for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If somebody wants to judge you, then maybe that's the person that doesn't need to be in your life. And to add on to that, a lot of you, listen, catch this. A lot of you are having anxiety and depression and worry simply based on who you allow around you. That family member who always judges you, that family member that always talks bad about you, that family member that's always going back and telling your business, but you think that just simply because they're your family that you have to keep them in your life. Bullshit. No, you don't. The one of the best things I ever did for myself in life was come from around people that were judging me, was come from around people that were talking negative things about me, was come from around people that didn't have my best interest at heart. And unfortunately, they share the same DNA as me. So what? At the end of the day, this is my journey. This is my story. This is my life. Nobody gets to dictate how my life turns out. Nobody gets to dictate the path that I take. A lot of y'all are stuck and won't even live out your goals. Won't your destiny and your dreams are like right there. You know what you want to do. You know what your purpose is. You know what you're called to do. But you sit up there and you allow outside sources to keep you from it. You know that you're called to be a mogul. You know that you're called to start certain businesses. You know that you're called to start a nonprofit. You know that you're called to have a TV show. You know that you're called to have a podcast. You know that you're called to be a motivational speaker. You know that you're supposed to encourage the masses. But what happens? You allow people around you to stop you. You have to get the naysayers from around you. You have to get tunnel vision on your purpose. You have to start focusing on you. You put yourself on the back burner all the time. But this is the thing. You can't say, "Oh, I'm doing this because I'm a good person." You being a good person to everybody except yourself. What are you doing? You are called to help so many other people, but yet you allow these people around you to speak these things about you, and you start to, what happens is you start to believe it about yourself. The more you hear something, the more you're going to believe it. So you done allowed your family members, your friends, and these different confidants and these different therapists and people around you to shift your way of thinking to where you think negatively about yourself. You have started to believe the lies that they have told you, and that's the reason why you have depression and you have anxiety and you feel like you're hitting a brick wall. You know what you're called to do, but it's the people around you. Get people around you that are going to uplift you and encourage you, that are going to help you get to those goals, that are going to help your dreams come true. It's not always about somebody else. Stop putting yourself on the back burner to appease other people. Stop putting yourself on the back burner to appease other people. Y'all got to catch that. Stop putting yourself on the back burner in order to appease other people. So many of us do. I did it. I was a people pleaser. Anything that I could do to be liked and not and be accepted and not be rejected, that's what I did. If I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, if I had to drive hours, if I had to leave my household, y'all got to stop doing that. You put yourself on the back burner, and by the time you look at it, your life is going to be over. Your purpose is down the drain. Your calling is down the drain. And you have to remember that we're all called to somebody. So that means the more you don't focus on yourself and your dreams and your purpose and make that come to life, then all them people that you're supposed to be carrying on your back, all the people's businesses, all the people's lives that you were supposed to change for the better, where does that take them? We're all called to somebody. You guys have to realize that you so worry about people rejecting you, but you're rejecting yourself. You so worried about people rejecting you that you reject yourself. Do you care about yourself? Do you care about what other people think about you? Stop caring about what other people think about you, because the more you care about what other people think about you, the less you care about yourself, the less you love yourself. You have to understand, y'all. It's not easy. I know it's not easy to cut off your mama because she's negative and she's telling you ain't never gonna be shit. I know it's hard to cut off your granny because she's sitting up there and she want to be in your business, in your relationship, and you sit up here listening to her, and you allowing her to make your decisions. I know it's not easy to cut off that friend that you've been attached to emotionally since you were 9, 10 years old, but they're not no good for you. If they're not encouraging you and uplifting you and helping you get to that next step, then what are they in your life for? What are they in your life for? You be the main one encouraging people. You be the main one sharing other people's businesses, sharing other people's posts, making sure they make it. But how about you making it? I put myself on the back burner up until just a few years ago. I just started doing this, y'all. I used to put myself on the back burner for everybody. My mom, my grandma, my husband, my sisters. Everybody was ahead of me. I thought more highly of everybody else, but I thought the lowest of myself. I had to pull myself up. I had to encourage myself. I had to release myself from that snare. I had to get myself up out of the pit. And it wasn't easy. Y'all got to understand that it's not always going to be easy, but it is worth it. It is worth it. You guys have to know that you're worth it. Sometimes you having these dreams, right? You have these dreams and you have these goals, and you trying to figure out how you're supposed to get there by putting yourself first, and stop putting yourself last. You have to put yourself first. The more you put yourself first, the more people that you can help. The more people that you help, the more likely you are to change the environment in the world around you. You may not be called to everybody, but you're called to somebody. So you got to start putting yourself first. No more anxiety, no more worrying, no more complaining, no more rejecting yourself, no more depression. You could turn it all around today. You guys have to want to, though. You have to come out of denial of the fact that you're going to stay in this place forever. So, as you guys know, I have written books. This is a book that's going to help you guys. This is Masks, Why We Wear Them, and the effects they have on our day-to-day lives. And this is a book that I wrote because of what I came out of. Okay, and so it talks about childhood trauma. It talks about mental illness. It talks about depression. It talks about the stresses of everyday life. It talks about parental heartache. It talks about forgiveness. We're going to talk about that one tomorrow, because that was something that hindered me. It hindered me for years because I had unforgiveness against my mother. I had unforgiveness against myself. I had unforgiveness against my siblings. And so that is a big part of why I went through the depression phase that I went through. So you guys have to understand that the more you forgive other people, the better you will be. It's not for them. I know you guys have heard this before. I know you guys have heard this, but at the end of the day, it's true. You don't forgive them for them. You forgive them for yourself. And sometimes you have to end up going to see somebody or picking up the phone and telling them that you forgive them. But that's a whole spiritual matter. But yeah, make sure you guys get a copy of my book, Masks, Why We Wear Them, and the effects they have on our day-to-day lives. This book is going to help you. I do have space in here. There's a lot of meat in here, but I do have space where you can write your thoughts, feelings, and your revelation. So there is space for you to be mindful of yourself in there. And this is my book here. Here you go, sis. The blueprint to a soul. That's my gorgeous daughter on the front. The blueprint to his soul is literally the blueprint of a house. And it talks about the front yard and what how he presents himself to the world. It talks about the kitchen, feeding his mind, body, and spirit. It talks about the hallway, his times of adversity. It talks about the den, his mental and physical challenges. And there's even a bonus. There's a bonus bedroom round in there in the back too, so that way you can make sure that you're taking care of him in the bedroom, ladies. And you guys know that I always tell you, reach out if you need me. I am here. The link is in my bio. If you need to book a session, you can also text me or call me. I also am doing shout outs on my page right now, $20 shout outs. If you don't need a shout out for your business or your page, make sure that you gift it to somebody else. So make sure you uh, utilize that as well. There's a lot of pages that have done it and they're growing. And also, some of those same people will be live with me on Sunday. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Follow me on all platforms. So says what she wants across all social media platforms. I do have a public figure and a personal page on Facebook. So make sure that you follow me there. My pages are at 14,000 and 16,000. So make sure it's me when you guys get on there. I am on TikTok and IG. And make sure that if you have somebody that needs a birthday shout out or you want to send a shout out to your significant other, that's another way to utilize the shout outs as well. And I will be back here. You guys make sure you come back here tonight at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I will have a special guest, Gunna Goes Global. We will be talking about masculine women and feminine men, and we also will be talking about women that abuse men. Make sure you guys join me tonight, and I will talk to y'all later. I love y'all, and get the fuck